We have just received word that Roger Ailes, the longtime CEO of Fox News, has passed away at the age of 77.
And we just read a statement from his wife. It does not give a reason for his passing. 77 years old, somebody who was the founding CEO of Fox News. Earlier in his career, worked in television, was in the Nixon White House, worked on the re-election campaign for Ronald Reagan, among other political figures. So a legendary figure in media and politics, and more recently embroiled in this sexual harassment controversy.
I think in the early part of his career, he was credited as a guy who revolutionized the way news was covered on cable television. But in the last year or so of his career, probably a name that most people read in the headlines associated with that sexual harassment scandal that took place within Fox News that eventually led to his ouster.
And that's something Stephanie Gosk, who joins us now, has been covering extensively. What do you make of this news this morning? Had there been rumblings that perhaps he was in ill health, obviously having gone through some difficult times personally recently?
No, we hadn't. And we hadn't heard anything about his health. I mean, I think you look at him, he's 77 years old. He looked to be somewhat overweight. You could imagine some health problems potentially for someone at that age. But obviously, when you talk about Roger Ailes, two really big things. Ailes revolutionized, as Matt said, Fox News and cable news, but he really changed the landscape of news in this country, offering up a conservative option for many people who felt there wasn't one out there. And then most recently, as we've been covering extensively, the sexual harassment allegations against him gaining so much momentum that actually it led to him being fired from his position.
And he had a longtime friendship with the President of the United States, Donald Trump, so we'll keep an eye on his Twitter and see if word has reached the White House.
I want to bring in journalist Gabe Sherman, who works for us now and who has covered Fox News and Roger Ailes extensively. He joins us on the phone. Gabe, good morning to you.
Thanks for having me.
Are you learning anything else about the circumstances under which Roger Ailes passed away?
The immediate circumstances this morning are still in question, Matt, but the larger context, you talked about health problems. It's important to point out that Roger Ailes has struggled with severe health problems his whole life. He's a hemophiliac, which for a person of his generation was a serious condition. He's had multiple surgeries. He's had many joint replacements. He had a secret prostate surgery several years ago that took him out of Fox News for weeks on end. So he has been in sort of serious health decline for years now. So the larger context is his passing at 77, you know, while early, is not surprising to people who have covered him because of his ill health for years.
Gabe, try to put in perspective for us, if you can, Roger Ailes and his early career at Fox, and then Roger Ailes and his departure from Fox.
Well, you know, it's a complicated story, Matt. I wrote a biography of Ailes that came out a couple of years ago. On one hand, he is a revolutionary. He changed both media and politics forever. He built Fox News from nothing into Rupert Murdoch's most valuable asset, valued at over $15 billion. But on the other hand, he ruled Fox News with an iron fist. Women who worked at Fox News, as we've now learned through lawsuits, were subject to a hostile work environment and sexual harassment. And Ailes could be a domineering and terrorizing figure within the company. And so it's a very complicated story. He's in one hand a genius, but also a very tragic, and in some ways his quest for power consumed him.
Right.
And it's sad in a certain way for a writer who's covered him. He kind of died alone. He moved to Palm Beach, was sort of in exile after his sexual harassment allegations, and basically ends this final chapter of his life totally alone.
And yet, Gabe, I think it's important to mention right now that he denied those charges of sexual harassment until the end.
That is correct, and he's repeatedly denied the allegations all throughout in the wake of Gretchen Carlson's lawsuit and other women who have come forward.
And I should mention, Gabe, we did receive a statement from the family. This is from Elizabeth Ailes, who writes, "I am profoundly sad and heartbroken to report that my husband, Roger Ailes, passed away this morning. Roger was a loving husband to me, to his son, Zachary, and a loyal friend to many. He was also a patriot, profoundly grateful to live in a country that gave him so much opportunity to work hard, to rise, and to give back." She goes on, "During a career that stretched out over over more than 5 decades, his work in entertainment, in politics, and in news affected the lives of many millions. And so even as we mourn his death, we celebrate his life. That is the statement from Elizabeth Ailes just this morning on our breaking news that Roger Ailes, longtime chairman of Fox News and pioneer in television, recently embroiled in controversy, has passed away.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.